All right, there's no reverb on it right now, no delay on it. Now the room mics. That makes it sound 100% better to me. Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Leo with More Than a Demo Tape, where I help you make better mixes to compete with those big professional mixes that you hear with little budget. How many times have you got done with the worship set and then you go home and you listen to it on the live stream mix on Facebook or YouTube and you're like, oh, it sounds so bad. Have no fear. I've been there. Every worship leader in the entire world that streams their worship has been there. And I'm going to show you some tools that you can use to help make this mix sound a little bit more like it's supposed to be there. And so what we've been doing is kind of working on this mix, and we've established a drum sound and some guitars and bass. And we're going to now try to focus more on the vocals. All right, so let's dive in. Here is the first verse here, and I am going to embarrass myself. Here's what my vocal sounds like. I'm gonna mute everybody else. Sometimes you've gotta dance through the darkness, sing through the fire, man. Praise when it don't make. Okay, right off the bat, what do you hear? What I hear is just a lot of low end gargling. So let me throw this low pass EQ on. Here we go. Before, sometimes you've got to shout it from the mountain. Honestly, a lot of that is just garbage. At a certain frequency range, you don't need it. Sometimes you've got to shout it from the mountain. I go like at 200 hertz, honestly. Trusting that he's gone. I even go a little bit further more. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder, wait for the answer, worship with your head. This frequency right here is pretty nasty. I'll praise you anywhere. Praise, give him praise, give him praise, give him highest. Okay. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is throw some saturation on there, and I'm using this auto-tune saturation plugin. Here's without. Sometimes you've got to shout it from the mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder, wait for the answer, worship with your hands in the air. I'll praise you anywhere, praise. Now this crunch setting is just way too much. Sometimes you've got to shout it from the... Just way too much. That's a little bit more soft saturation. All right, now I'm going to throw on a multi-band compressor. Mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder, wait for the... All right, so all I've done so far is EQ and saturation and multi-band compression. It already is making it sound so much better. All right, so let's listen to that in the mix. Louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder, wait for the answer, worship with your hands in the air. I'll praise you anywhere. Praise. Not bad, right? It's better, but I would still be embarrassed hearing that online. So obviously there's our champion plugin of all time for vocals. It's auto-tune. We actually do have another version of a pitch correction that goes to our front of house. It's the Waves. I can't remember what it's called, but we use the Waves version of auto-tune on our console up front. We are using the Avantis 64 or something like that. So right now I've got auto-tune out, and we're just going to throw in a light, kind of a slower speed of the retune.
in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there.
I still hear some muddiness in my EQ of the voice, so I'm gonna actually pull back a little bit more.
Mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome.
I was really eating that mic, man. Okay, so there's an auto tune with it.
Louder in the valley, trusting.
Now, here's another EQ. Kind of using this plugin as an extra frequency destroyer.
Mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder.
Now what I'm doing is I'm dipping a lot of this frequency right here, this like 500 hertz frequency.
Mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder.
Boosting some mids.
Wait for the answer.
2K.
Worship with your
3K.
hands in the air.
4K.
I'll praise you anywhere.
5K.
Praise, giving praise, giving praise, giving high.
Okay. And now what I like to do is I take all of that and then I compress it a little bit more at the end of the chain because it's still kind of like all over the place. And where I like the vocals to sit in the mix is kind of like right in the center right here with the kick drum and the snare drum. And to get it that present, you have to compress it quite a bit. And so right now, if you don't compress it, the volume's just going to go right up here to the lowest volumes. And sometimes it's going to go like into your face so loud it's going to hurt your eardrums. Like it's up and down, especially with a bad singer like me. And so I like to put on this distressor plugin. I used to own a analog version of this plugin, and I saw that Universal Audio made a version of this, and I just love this plugin. It's amazing. So this is what it sounds like before.
Mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder.
Obviously, it sounds really intense. It is putting a little bit of distortion in there as well. It's okay to my ear because kind of putting some saturation on that makes it sound a little bit more aggressive.
Mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna.
I've got a pretty quick release time and a middle attack time, like a medium speed. And the output here.
Mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there.
That's without.
Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder. Wait for the answer. Worship with your hands in the air. I'll praise you anywhere. Praise, giving praise, giving praise, giving highest praise. Praise, giving praise in the highest. He is worthy. Yes, he is worthy of all of the praise. Sometimes you gotta praise in the prison, cry out to heaven, shout until the door swing wide.
All right, that's pretty aggressive, and so I'm just gonna dial it back a little bit and go a little bit more dry.
Louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've gotta welcome the.
All right, so now you're kind of hearing the vocals now up front in the mix, but it still sounds really dry and just very exposed. And so what I like to do is two things. Number one, a reverb. So we're going to use that same room reverb that I made for the electric guitars and the acoustic guitars and the keys, and we're just going to route it through there. So here's what that sounds like.
In the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there.
Here's without it.
Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder. Wait for the answer. Worship with your hands in the air. I'll praise you anywhere. Praise.
Okay, here's with the whole mix here without reverb first.
Louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder. Wait for the answer. answer.
Now with it.
Worship with your hands in the air. I'll praise you anywhere.
That sounds pretty good. All right, that sounds pretty good. Now I'm gonna route the vocal through the delay, and this is gonna really kind of help enforce like that studio sound, that big worship sound. So first, we're routing it through here. I'm doing like a telephone EQ through the delay. So let's just listen to that without any reverb.
Mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes.
All right, I don't even know if this is routed through there. See, I'm not. So let's put a subgroup ascend here to the subgroup of this delay return. Let's put I'm not calling it the right thing. All right, so we've added this bus send to 11 and 2. And we're going to return it on 11 and 2 here. Here's what it sounds like.
Mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gone.
Now that sounds like really chaotic, and a huge fix to making it less chaotic sounding is doing this EQ that I'm going to show you. This is like a telephone EQ that I'll use sometimes for a delay only.
Mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder.
All right. So to make that delay a little bit more blended in, I'm actually going to send the delay through the reverb. So here is how that is going to sound.
Mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome.
All right, now let's listen to that through the whole mix.
Mountain, louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder, wait for the answer. Worship with your hands in the air. I'll praise you anywhere.
All right, let me take off some cheat codes here really quick. Let me just do auto-tune. I'm gonna not do any auto-tune, just so that excuse is not there. I'm just gonna prove the point to you that even without auto-tune, the sound and the routing and the processing of the effects can make your vocal sound like a studio quality vocal.
Louder in the valley, trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder, wait for the answer. Worship with your hands in the air. I'll praise you anywhere.
All right, now I'll just kind of put that auto-tune back on here, but you can kind of see that you don't need it. It's just to kind of make sure things don't go out of control. And giving ourselves an advantage, because we're at a disadvantage when we're being heard through tiny little speakers and we're just so scrutinized, and you want to put your best foot forward for the people to hear it. All right, so we did have some room mics recorded, and so everything that you've heard so far has just been like a, direct stereo mix, and there's not been any room sound. So what I like to do is I record the room. On one side we have one shotgun mic, and then on the other side of the room we have another shotgun mic, and I pan those hard left and hard right. Here's what those room mics sound like without any EQ or anything. All right, so what I'm going to do to kind of clean up this track is throw, what is it? Every time we do this, it's the low cut filter. So I'm actually cutting a ton of low end on this. It's kind of the same story as the overheads. You don't need a ton of just low garbly garbage underneath. So here's what it sounds like after we've put on that low pass filter. I'm gonna reset this. I'm gonna copy this, okay? All right, so to my ear, kind of sounds a little bit like mid-heavy. This ugly frequency here. I'll praise you anywhere. Okay, now that, if you put this in the mix as it is right now, you're not gonna hear a ton of difference. So here is the whole mix. Here's with the room mics in. You can't even tell. So what I do is, let me just show you this without all the instruments and stuff like that.
Trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder.
So I can't even hear like the room sound. I can hear like kind of the snare ambient sound. Like, so what you have to do is raise the noise floor of these mics. So I'm gonna throw this Bomb Factory plugin. It's my go-to like really dramatic plugin. All right, so now let's hear the difference in the mix when these are muted. All right, there's no reverb on it right now, no delay on it. Now the room mics. That makes it sound 100% better to me. If you couldn't, implement a ton of things, like if you didn't have a lot of budget to buy like all these fancy plugins with waves or like auto tune, get the room mics fixed in your sanctuary or your worship place where you guys are doing worship, and try to add these really dynamic microphones to point at the audience or point at the people worshiping and really kind of get that live sound, because that's what the difference is to me of someone who's kind of watching from the outside, and they're watching you sing and it sounds so dry and so exposed, and it's not fair to you. And so what you want to do is put at least 2 microphones out there on the stage or somewhere pointing out to the worshipers out there, and then really try to blend those mics inside of the sound. It's going to make a huge difference. And so all of this other stuff is just candy, like ear candy, honestly. So let's kind of hear the whole mix without the room mics, and then with. Trusting that he's going to get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder. Now here's with the room mics. It's amazing. Here's the reverb. All right, now to be fair, I'm going to mute all of the multi-tracks. This is what, without any multi-track help, this is what we sounded like on a Sunday morning. Ready for it? Here it is. Let's just be honest here. Trusting that he's going to get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder. Wait for the. Now in this case, if I didn't have any other multi-tracks, I would turn up my acoustic guitar, both acoustic guitars. We had 2 of them that day. Trusting that he's going to get you there. Sometimes you've got to welcome the wonder. Wait for the answer. Worship with your hands in the air. Okay, so the fact that we had the multi-tracks was such a blessing in this case. I think we had two of our worship band members that morning call off sick, and the flu was going around, and so we're using Multitracks, the playback app. And so if you don't know how to do that, please comment in the comments below. I'm going to hook you up. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's actually not terribly hard to get started. But really quick, let's wrap up this whole thing. There were other singers besides myself, so I didn't want to embarrass them. So I'm just going to make a fast forward here to their vocals all mixed. And we're going to kind of play it. Here we go.
Trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've gotta welcome the wonder, wait for the answer, worship with your hands in the air. I'll praise you anyway.
Praise, give him praise, give him praise in the highest. Praise, give him praise, give him praise in the highest. He is worthy, yes he is worthy of all of the praise.
Crowd to heaven, shout to the door swing wide. Sometimes you've gotta stand on your shackles, brave in the battle, worship with your hands held high. I'll praise you anyway.
Praise, give him praise in the highest.
Praise, give him praise in the high.
Now, what I like to do with the vocals, if there's multiple, like in this case we had 4, not all of them were singing a harmony. One of them was singing a melody. Actually, 2 of them were singing what I was singing for the melody. And so what you can do is pan them a little bit around you so that it doesn't look so like congested in that single mono channel. So here's what it sounds like when I'm starting to pan some of these vocals by themselves. Here we go.
Trusting that he's gonna get you there. Sometimes you've gotta praise you anyway.
Praise, give him praise in the highest. Praise, give him praise in the highest. He is worthy, yes he is worthy of all of the praise.
Sometimes you've gotta praise it.
All right, so that kind of gives a little bit stereo image. Now this makes it a little bit more difficult to mix on the fly if you were having to like pan, you know, from one song to the next song. But if you're post mixing it like I am here, you can just automate that by just, you know, raising the pan. So for example, I'm gonna go here to pan. And I know that Nicole, she sang the middle song, so she's on the orange mic. I'm going to put her in the center for her song. That's not the right song. Here is the song.
I don't
All right, here is her song. So I'm going to put her in the center for the vocals.
leaves the 99.
And now for me, I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to put me on the left for this song.
Oh, the overwhelming
All right.
love of God.
And now Stephen led the last song. So I know that he needs to be in the center for... Oops, that is not the pan. Here's the pan. I'm going to put him in the center for the last song.
Salvation in your name, Jesus Christ.
Also, this was a different key. I believe that the last song was in D.
The roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me. Oh, Jesus Christ is the victory.
Yeah, it's in D. Steve has the range, man.
The roaring
automate everybody else's auto-tune key here, because this was D. It's very close to A, actually. There's how many sharps? 3 sharps in the key of A, and then there's 2 in the key of D, so it's actually pretty close, but you don't want to make it sound weird. All right, and then bringing this to a D, red. This is my microphone. I'm gonna bring this to a D as well. The other songs were all in A, if I remember right.
Praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah.
Nicole was singing melody, so we're going to just bring hers down. She's kind of reinforcing that melody. Now I'm gonna put that cool plug-in for Steven on the lead vocal.
There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope.
Now I'm gonna put delay on his voice as well.
There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah. Praise the one who set me.
Acoustics all of a sudden got loud because I was going back and forth.
The roaring lion declare the grave has no claim on me.
All right, I'm gonna give her the distressor as well.
The roaring lion declare the grave has no claim. The one who set me free. Hallelujah.
All right, I'm gonna pan mine to the left just a little bit.
Death has lost. You won't keep down.
All right, and then one last thing I'll have to do is
So kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights to witness every.
okay, turning down Steve.
Leaves the 99, and I couldn't earn it. I don't deserve it. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh.
All right, so that's kind of what it sounds like after all of this processing, and you kind of remember what it used to sound like. I hope that you know that your worship mix can be improved. Don't lose heart. It's gonna be better increments every single time that you do it. I highly recommend trying to multi-track record your worship set if you don't have that ability. There's multiple ways that you can do that. I'll do some videos in the future on how you can set up your worship set to record to a multi-track interface. And if you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe. And also, if you would like my free mixing guide, just this visual mixing guide, I'm gonna give that to you for free. I hope it helps you mix in the future, and we'll see you next time.